best of 2021.
And so I have to just
You can't say the word, but get
Okay.
me to say this word. The only rule is you can't say it.
pass. It's a show about a girl with bangs.
The New Girl.
No, I haven't watched that. Okay, well, I'll be better at the lead names. It shows.
I'm sorry, I thought you laughed about the girl with bangs.
What was it? What show was it?
When you're high, 'cause when you're high, you never make me cry.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Arend's channel on weedtube.com and welcome to a brand new episode of Watch and Sesh, the show where you get to watch me sesh with an assuredly cool person. Today's guest, and also you can sesh along if you want to, but you don't have to, but you know, I always say that. Today's guest is the wonderful and incredible entrepreneur who has a very significant following on LinkedIn, which is pretty impressive. Max Simon. Hi Max, how are you?
Good to be with you, my friend.
Good to be with you too. One of us got a sativa hit, one of us got an indica hit. It's been like 10 minutes, how you feeling? Which one did you get?
Well, so in Ganjier terms, you know, we don't even say sativa indica anymore because it's like there's physical effects and there's mental effects, and then there's stimulating effects and there's relaxing effects.
I'm so excited to learn.
And then there's this like balanced middle. So I would say that what I consume is very balanced.
Okay.
Very, very balanced. Relaxing,
Okay.
but kind of, you know, I still feel ready to engage with you.
Okay. So I think I got the more uppity one, the energizing one. So I think I can't wait to learn so much more from you today about like the dissolution of our knowledge of sativa and indica, which I'm sure you'll help me with. But in layman's terms, I think I got the sativa and I think you got the indica. Joya right now is going to bring in a bong to the person who got the indica first.
Okay. And it makes sense if you think about it though, right? Like, what are we trying to say when we say indica sativa? We're trying to say, does it take you down?
Yeah.
Right?
Take
Or
you
does
up.
it take you up? And that's where like cannabis is so interesting because even if something takes me down, it might take you up.
might, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think the vocabulary is good to evolve. Like, okay, good. What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to go down? Are we trying to stay in a nice balanced place? We're trying to go way up. You know?
Right. Yeah. You got the down.
But you different, and I think
Is it all about the terpenes, Max?
So we went through this whole process in Ganjier to like try to understand how do you assess cannabis. And I think there's like what we came up with is 4 categories. Appearance, what does it look like? Smell,
What
does it smell like? Taste, what does it taste like? Which is also how it was cured, how it was stored.
Okay.
And then what's the experience like? So, you know, that's how we kind of break it down is that there's all these qualities. So terpenes are really important for the flavor,
Okay.
right? And for the aroma.
Yeah.
But if the cannabis wasn't handled properly, cured properly, doesn't matter. You lose those terpenes. So, you know, I think it's all really important.
So is there even a generalized ability to judge what cannabis is going to be like, or is
Yeah,
it a
definitely.
strain? But is
Definitely, but you can judge it in those ways. Like, you know, if I saw this flower, I brought this loop. We could look at it.
Yeah, we're gonna bring out a
know?
bunch of different strains here that we got from Redwood
Roots.
and you're gonna kind of go through them and decide what we're gonna have for the rest of our session, kind of look
Okay.
at some up close, which I'm really excited about. Wow, you are just a wealth of knowledge.
So, I mean, again, what's been so fun, the business is about cannabis education. And because I've been building this business since 2014 and we've produced all this content, I've just learned so much, you know,
I want
much
to take a
about
rip,
it.
and then I'm gonna ask you about a
All
million
right,
questions.
Let's do it.
Delicious. That one's really good. What strain is this, Joya? Lemon meringue, and what is Sunset Sherbet? Are you familiar?
Sometimes with the specific strains, but more like you can pull out the flavors, like in the sherbet, or you can definitely taste this as fruity and sweet.
Okay.
That's why they call them sherbets, is that
Okay.
there's a fruit classification and there's a sweet classification, and you can taste both of them in this.
But fruit is not citrus, right?
No, yeah,
Oh,
fruit citrus.
okay,
It's
okay.
a fruit. The fruit category is all the citruses, all the kind of the fruity, the pineapples, the strawberries. That's all in the fruit category.
Okay, very interesting. For a quick background for someone viewing who doesn't know who you are, let's start with the elevator pitch.
Well, so first I've been consuming cannabis ever since I was a teenager,
Okay.
and I was diagnosed even earlier as before a teenager with pretty severe ADHD, and it's something I've really had a lot of difficulty, with throughout my life. So I found cannabis really early, and leaned into it pretty heavily as almost an unconscious self-medication.
Yeah.
So I've been consuming cannabis for decades now.
I do relate to that a lot. I was also, as a teenager, diagnosed with ADHD, and bringing cannabis into my life was the first time I had such a clarity and focus on getting things done.
And look, I tried all the medications and shit that they want you to take too, the Adderalls and the Ritalins and all that stuff too. And I tried it, but it's not good. It wasn't good. And cannabis was like so good.
Yeah.
And so I gravitated to it young, and I stuck to it my whole life. I've always been a cannabis consumer. But then I've had my career has been in all these forms of education. And so it was like 2014, and I was kind of looking for my next thing, and I got a consulting gig with a company here in California that was a cannabis company, and it just opened my eyes to how amazing this industry is and was going to be, and how much potential there was, but also how misunderstood it was.
Yeah.
Terribly, terribly, terribly misunderstood. So, to me, it felt like my purpose and my background and my life experience coming together, because I have built leading education platforms and companies that have impacted millions of people.
He worked with Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, I worked with Deepak for 9 years.
So if you're wondering how cool this person is sitting next to me, that should give you a little inkling.
It was fun. That was a cool process.
And cheers to Deepak Chopra. You don't have to join me, but I'm taking a rip for that one.
Strong hitting it in these big bongs.
Hey, listen, there is nothing more that I like, Max, in this world than waking up in the morning, having a big old cup of coffee, and smoking a bong. That's what I want. That's what I like.
All right, let's go.
So 2014, you started the company Green Flower, right?
Started Green Flower, right.
And Green Flower is a cannabis education platform.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's crazy. I mean, it feels like a dream, actually. But now we power the cannabis curriculums of 30 colleges around the country.
Okay.
And then we now have this Ganjier certification, which is kind of lovingly known as a cannabis sommelier certification. And then we now are also basically becoming the training backbone of the industry. And so we're working with cannabis operators and individuals kind of throughout the whole ecosystem to train them on.
So you're providing the text and the knowledge to the universities. You're providing the programs for work-specific training. You are developing this Ganjier program, which when we talked on the phone about it, I was super excited about it. I think it's not something I could do immediately, but certainly in the future of my whole career, I would love to
study cannabis at
even
this
if I
personal
fail,
level.
I want to know. You know what I mean? As much as I can know.
I mean, that's why you should bring the flower in. We should look at it because
let's bring the flower in.
Because what's so fun about Ganjier is that you get all these little tools and you learn how do you really assess cannabis?
Yeah.
What makes this thing quality? Why is it desirable? And in understanding all those qualities and then having your own kind of palate training and assessment training.
Thanks, Joya.
It's so fun because you develop a relationship and an understanding of this plant like never before. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Do you have a favorite this week? Jeez, you guys have really dusted through the meringue.
Hard to say.
I
do like an upper. I like an upper.
You've clearly gone
Peanut
through
butter breath.
Peanut butter breath. So this was all Humboldt grown. Do you understand why Humboldt's a special place to grow cannabis? I think this is something people don't necessarily get as much.
I'm guessing it has something to do with the climate of the area, the sunshine. It gets the moisture that's in the air, and maybe the soil.
All of that.
Okay.
So the thing about growing quality cannabis is it's not one thing. It's a collection of hundreds of things.
Right.
And that's actually what makes growing real good quality cannabis so difficult is it's about all of it. It's about the air, it's about the water, it's about the nutrients, it's about the soil, it's about the sun, it's about the genetics, it's about what you do at each stage of the cycle, it's about when you harvest, about all that stuff. So Humboldt's got the perfect ecosystem for cannabis from an outdoor framework. Mm-hmm. They've got people that have been breeding for decades. So those people have the best genetic profiles. They've created genetics that are really special.
Okay.
And then they have the knowledge of how to nurture them at every stage of these things, and in particular how to cure it properly so that it maintains its aroma and flavor and that kind of thing. And so that's why Humboldt cannabis and Redwood Roots is going to actually create a very different experience when you consume it. Tastes better, smells better, has a more kind of robust effect palette.
7 questions.
Okay.
Cannabis is not natural to Humboldt, right? That's something that was brought in and grown there. Is Humboldt mimicking some sort of environment where cannabis was naturally grown, or is it a better environment than where cannabis was originally naturally growing?
Cannabis needs a lot of bright sun.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. It needs a lot of bright sunlight, and sunlight is the best medium to grow plants in. It's just not always the most efficient. You know, with cannabis, you can force these plants to grow a lot faster if you manipulate the light artificially.
Manipulated light, right? Which is how most stuff in Colorado is grown.
Yeah, which is how most stuff and everywhere is grown, because agriculturally,
it's a hard thing to grow.
It's a hard thing to grow.
It's hard to grow.
And so it makes more sense to kind of control the environments. It just doesn't produce as good of a product.
Where does the weed come from naturally, originally? Do you know?
Well, I mean, weed has been
Afghanistan?
consumed everywhere.
Okay.
It's really fascinating, actually. Yeah, it's been consumed all throughout the Middle East. It's been consumed in Asia. India, for example, has been using it in spiritual practice for thousands of years. They call it bang. It's this. It's like a smoothie that they make with cannabis, just like an infused cannabis. And they get loaded, and these Indian.
It's a religious thing.
They go to God.
Because when I was in India, it was like everybody was like, you can't smoke weed here unless you're part of this religion. Then you're allowed to have weed and consume it in this one specific way. It's very interesting.
So you asked before, is it all about the terpenes? The main thing that the terpenes do is they tell you which direction it's going to go. And they tell you the flavor, too. They tell you the flavor and the aroma. So again, you got to look at it from all these ways. Like, what makes cannabis so fascinating is that all these, such unique smells. And those smells translate to tastes, and the terpenes are what dictate the experience. So you can start to learn.
Give me one of those notes.
Yeah,
I want
so like
see
smell.
If I can,
see,
what
break
should
it open.
What should I be? Let me.
So like break it open. Like you got to really like. And it's a little, this one's not got a very, not a super strong.
I was going to say pretty neutral, not like muted.
This one does not have a super potent aroma flavor, and that could be, again, because of the cure. That could also be, so you know this, cannabis, these terpenes are very, they call them volatile, which means that they go away quickly.
Okay.
They go away with heat. So heat they burn off in, they get dried out really easily. And so it's unfortunate, almost all cannabis is kept in these like bags.
Yeah.
These bags are terrible for maintaining moisture control.
Everything should be with
in
Boveda.
glass. Yeah, exactly. Everything, 2 things. You should have everything in glass, and you should have Boveda
Blacked
stuff.
out glass if you can.
Yeah, exactly. Temperature,
I'm about to step my pussy up.
when you open it up, right, when you get in there and you get your nose really in there, it's earthy. Right?
It is
it's
earthy.
Right? So it's an earthy flavor, and that's one of the categories. Fruit category, there's an earth category, there's a gas category. I'm gonna blank on this.
We love a gas category.
Yeah, like this modified grapes. This modified grapes is a gas first with a fruit second. So let's see.
I'm gonna have these get scraped, so you can pick what we're gonna have next. I'll have whatever you are liking.
That's delightful. This is peppery.
This came from where?
So this will be so again. This one's
This is peppery.
Jelly OG. So that's a peppery one, which would be a very nice, uplifting kind of high to it.
It is peppery.
Right. Exactly. So that's like it's kind of in between the gas category and the earth category.
I get pepper.
Right.
Do you
But
get pepper?
exactly. So you can smell it exactly. Right. So that's how you start to train yourself. Oh, identify.
It's
these
pepper.
are these categories. Right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and so this is
You probably have
so this is a very pure fruit.
Okay. I'm going to set this one aside because you said peppery uplifting. I'm into
Fruit
that.
and
So
sweet,
far, I am voting for this one. But
This is ice cream cake, which is very fruity and sweety, right? Or
sweet being the ice cream.
Yeah, exactly, and fruity. So smell it. You'll smell the fruit.
Yes.
Right, and then you can take the second note, sweet. Right. So that's how you learn the categories.
This one was not sweet. This was peppery and
I think that's
bitter.
peppery. I think that's like the peppery, right? Yeah, exactly.
If you had to give a second quality to that, what would you give it?
Earthy.
Peppery and earthy. Okay. And this is sweet and fruity.
Even though so what again what
ice cream.
what's interesting, it's fascinating to know is that 90, I think it's don't quote me on the number, but it's like 98% of all cannabis is comprised of 6 terpenes.
Okay.
Nobody knows this. but it's so wild when you get it. There's 6 primary terpenes. Myrcene's the first one, beta-caryophyllane's the second one, lemonine's the third one, or limonene. Terpinolene is the 5th one. 4th one. I don't know, I'm getting stoned, so I'm not going to remember all these things. But anyways, there's five primary categories. And it's just that they're all in different proportions usually.
Okay.
So like a really gassy one is a beta-caryophyllene first, with a myrcene second, with a limonene third.
Okay.
And that's what those really gassy ones are. And so those start to have more predictable flavor profiles, effect profiles.
Effects, yeah.
And whereas the fruity ones are very much myrcene limonene, beta-caryophyllene as the mix. And so it changes the proportions of them, and that's what makes it sweeter versus more gassy. And that's how you start to understand the effects, is because very high myrcene and low everything else will make it really heavy.
Perfect.
And that's how you can know, like, oh, you smell it this way, you'll get that smell. That's going to be heavy.
Okay.
That's going to be very heavy. And then some of those ones, like those very bright citrus ones, you know how you're like, that's orange.
Yeah.
That's very high limonene.
Okay.
High limonene is going to be like a stimulant.
Okay.
It's got that stimulating kind of energizing property. Same with the terpinolene, the one that's in all those jacks. Terpinolene is very like coffee.
Okay.
Terpinolene.
What's the pepper?
Pepper
where are
is
we
going to
getting
be
that?
like, beta-caryophyllene myrcene or beta-caryophyllene limonene or some blend, but it's beta-caryophyllene is the peppery one.
Okay.
And you see the secondary one, then myrcene, limonene, those kinds of things coming after it.
Okay.
And those ones can be different for different people. Like sometimes, like those very even blends all get very energized from, because the ADHD stuff, and other people will get kind of sedative from.
Okay.
So
I retained 10% of what you said, but it was a great 10%.
When you're high,
In the Ganjier course, have you taken this course?
I just got certified.
You're
in
certified
March.
Ganjier.
Just finished it. It took me a little over a year to go through, but I finished in March.
And who are the people that developed is this the peppery?
Yeah.
I want this. Can I
Okay.
load myself a
Yeah,
bowl of this? Is
definitely.
that okay with you, Max?
This is your show, bro.
Well, no, I want to make sure that I want you to tell me which one of these I should have. Can I look at it with a magnifying glass? Where's your
Yeah.
mag?
Oh, yeah. Where did I put this thing?
Behind you.
So also, I'll give you one more very simple hack, but it'll change things for you. So when you inhale, you need a little more space at the top to get the flavor. So most people, when they inhale, they go, and then you let it out. But you need to go, pull off, and then go.
I do that.
And if you pull that little extra amount, you get the air comes through, and now you get the flavor. That whole flavor starts to come through, and that's what makes cannabis so enjoyable. Is you get
It's
the flavor.
the
experience.
equivalent to the.
Yeah, you need some air. You need some air in it, and so. Yeah, most people they don't do it right. They don't smoke it right. This is all the fun things you get trained in Ganjiers. You learn how to smoke weed properly as well.
All you people who love weed, you're welcome for having Max
yeah,
on, because this is incredible. The little trichomes all over this that you can't even see. You can see it with your naked eye.
Yeah, but you gotta really, so you gotta
God.
get your eye right up to it.
Oh my
yeah. So now you'll
God.
see a whole world under there, and that's part of assessing cannabis too. And this is again what people don't realize. It's those trichomes that are where everything is. The cannabinoids, the terpenes, specifically. It's in the trichomes. Most cannabis is mishandled to death, and so you don't
I feel
realize
terrible
it.
for rubbing this around in my hand already.
Yeah,
just
mishandled
looking
to
up
death.
at it.
And so you knock off, those trichomes are fragile, super fragile. They'll all get knocked off. And that's what degrades everything about the quality of weed is that.
So what's the best way to break this bud up to smoke
Oh,
it?
when you're smoking it, don't worry about it. Just smoke it,
Oh, okay.
At this point. But by the time it's gotten here, unfortunately, in most legal markets, it's been mishandled like 15 or 20 times at that point.
This is wild. Can I have a grinder?
And I know because of Chris's group, the Redwood Roots group, they take incredible care to do this right.
Oh, they definitely do.
And this is the difference of craft cannabis. Is craft cannabis, they handle these things properly, they trim it properly. Like you can also tell, for example, this is hand trimmed. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is hand trimmed, not machine trimmed. I mean, I have to look at it. Then hand trimmed, again, one of the differences in machine trimming takes it all tight, right? It makes it all super, super tight. But what's happening is they're knocking off all the trichomes to do that.
Okay.
So you're ruining the quality, and a lot of times you look at flower and it'll look like it's all white and frosty. It's all just the stalks. All the heads have been knocked off actually, and so people think they're smoking this super fire weed when it's mostly just like stalks because of how mishandled it's been.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the extra breath in. I'm gonna give it a real taste. I'm gonna see that pepper should come through in the taste.
Well,
when I
so
smoke
here's
it.
the next thing to do is once you grind it up, then you
Sniff
want
it
to
again.
smell it again.
Yeah. So
So what do you smell? What?
peppery, and there's this scent that I get on weed sometimes that is pissy.
Yeah,
Do you smell piss?
The cat piss category, and that's oftentimes
piss.
it's in the fuel camp. It's
Okay.
that, you know, if you really like
Maybe
think
it is.
about
Maybe
it, right?
that's gas.
Gassiness, so it's on that gassy scale. That's what that.
Maybe I'm identifying that pissy smell as gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Gas.
Cool. What about fish food smell? Because that's a lot in
I mean,
Colorado.
again,
weed.
I'd have to smell what you're smelling when you smell fish food.
I never smell it in California weed. It's always in Colorado weed.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's got something to do with the
this
dryness.
exactly. This is gas. This is the category of gas.
Gas.
And it's a peppery gas, right?
Now I know what gas is.
See,
you
right?
guys.
Got it.
10 years of smoking
Got
weed,
it.
and I finally learned what
Got it. Just
gassy
like that.
smells like. Okay.
And that's the fun thing is you through the program you literally do smoke a lot of weed because you're training your palate.
You have to.
You have to understand what these things smell like, what these things taste like, what these things feel like, and that's what I'm saying. Why it's such a fun process is you really do get an intimate understanding of like how it all works.
And you probably never touch it the same.
See, like again, so one of the things you judge is the tactileness. You judge the tactileness, and part of there's lots of ways you do that, but one of the simple ways is you just see how sticky is it, and this has got just a beautiful tactileness nature, which shows you it was cured right. Yeah, you got to give a shout out to Redwood, man. The farmers they represent, Ridgeline, Huckleberry Hill, these groups. They're
So sorry.
That's okay. It's good weed. Strong weed.
I don't know that I paid enough attention to it, but immediately there was like a taste of fresh mozzarella. I don't know what that means.
That's interesting. Well, that's interesting.
I like you better when you smoke.
What makes cannabis so fascinating is this one plant has literally now thousands of genetic expressions.
Yeah.
All a little different, all a
Okay.
little unique, and that's
Because
the way
we've changed it so much and grown it differently.
just
and
hybridized the shit out of everything. Everything has been crossbred. What did I do with the bowl?
I see that this talked about online now. Damn, that weed got me. But it feels really good. Is there truly any original strains left? Like, is there really still a true Blue Dream? Is there still a true
Well,
Jack Herer? Maybe that's way more protected, but
I mean, that's a good example. Like Jack, his son, who's in the business, great guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he's in the business. Yeah, they have like proprietary Jack genetics. I mean, genetics are seeds, and seeds, like all seeds, all vegetables, plants have biomarkers that you can kind of standardize, right? And so Jack is one example. When you see Jack Herer branded cannabis, that's Jack Herer genetics, and you can trust that. Some of these other things, though, like when you said a Blue Dream, I don't know.
how do you know it can be the true Blue Dream that was named Blue Dream?
because it got propagated so fast in so many different places so quickly, and then that created all the mutation though, because then it's thousands of people doing their versions of Blue Dream and changing it as they breed it a little bit and all that other stuff. So, and then there's what's called land races. Land races are like, Congolese or these strains. They're found in certain regions around the world, and they're known for growing in that region. And
Inland?
I'm not the most adept to.
I'm just
like,
wondering
land
where the
race.
name for it came from. Land race.
Oh, I don't know that. I should know that. I don't know off the top of my head though. But,
Got him. Just
yeah,
kidding.
I don't know. But that said, I think that's So there. But I'm saying that because there are breeders out there that have maintained, like one of our instructors is this dude Mel Frank, who wrote the first ever published cannabis grow book. He wrote it in like 1960 something.
Okay.
And then proceeded to write more of them. And he, for example, has seed banks from the 60s and 70s and 80s and stuff like that of just like, the original stuff, because those were the people that were growing it back then at those times in scale. So that exists, but you're not finding any of that stuff. And the reason you're not finding it in the legal markets is because it's hard to grow.
Right.
It's finicky. This stuff, you know, they've stabilized genetics, like especially these ice cream cakes, you know. These things, you can grow big plants that do big yields of big, you know, quality terpenes, and it's not like that. Just like try to grow any plant. Try to grow different kinds of tomatoes. They grow differently, you know.
Yeah.
It's different.
Okay, is this true that like just the small personal 3-pound batches are the best weed you'll ever smoke?
First off, I think one thing that's misunderstood, and people that grow cannabis will tell you this, like growing good weed takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It's not.
I've tried.
It's
and
not
I did not give enough, Max.
Yeah,
I'm tell you
it
right
takes
now.
a lot of effort.
Nope. I thought
You know,
I was
you have
giving
to
the most.
really have your hands on those plants almost every day.
You have
first
to.
off, you know, as the cycles progress, it gets like increasingly more hands-on.
Oh my
You know what I
gosh.
mean? I mean the pest control and the
Oh.
nutrient cycles and the trimming and the pruning and the way you shape the plants and you know, and then there's just lots of stuff that can go wrong. You know, there's lots of stuff that can go wrong, and so it can ruin everything. And bugs and pests and diseases, you know, are rampant. So it takes a lot of energy to grow the plant well, period.
Yeah.
You know? And then the problem, again, with like the legal space is like, it's just hard to do that at scale.
Yeah.
It's just hard to put that much
Love.
that much love into the plants at scale. So inherently, anybody who's growing less, whether it be personal or professional,
Yeah.
you know, has the ability to put that love into it.
The analogy is the amount of love that was put into it is equal to.
And again, I don't mean to like be so repetitive, but that's why there's a lot of us that really want these Humboldt farmers in the legal markets to be recognized, because
100%.
this is actually where you find the love. And
We should make some heirloom laws that like protect.
they're working
stuff
on it.
like
There's a
that.
whole thing called the Origins Council up in Humboldt that's been working on creating appellation of origin laws.
Yes.
Not appellation of origin. Damn, I'm gonna get yelled at for not having that right.
Yeah, I would buy heirloom strains. Are you kidding me? That would be dope. I hope that does happen for Humboldt. Delicious.
California Appalachian origin?
Yeah, so it's appellations of origins. I'm gonna botch it. It's something like that though. Anyways, they're trying to get laws enacted, which is basically it's based on the same premise of what they did in France, where wine growers in regions had conditions that had to be met, you know, I mean, it seems silly to say this, but grown in the ground, you know, and in certain, you know, places in French, they kind of annexed off. If it's grown here, they has this, you know, designation to it. If it's grown here, and the only products grown there could have that designation of, you know, Humboldt grown, and it gives a layer of protection. You know, it's like a layer of protection for that kind of product.
Like you were
so
saying
minty.
like France, huh?
So minty.
That's
like
minty,
yeah,
that
it got
one.
a very minty.
You were talking about France. Were you talking about? I zoned out for
Well,
2
I was
seconds.
just thinking that
the wine stuff.
The wine stuff was
like
in France.
only
right?
you can get like people order champagne all the time, but it's only really truly champagne if it's from
Champagne. That's exactly. So that's because of laws in France
Yeah.
that allowed people growing within a certain appellation origin to declare that if it's grown from here, it's champagne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And if it's not, it's a sparkling wine.
Exactly.
And it may still be good, but it's not champagne.
Yeah. So that's what you know. They're the people in Humboldt have been working on that for a long time, but I don't know if it's any closer to like.
I truly support that for them, and I hope that goes through. Hey there! I hope that you are enjoying the show, but I just wanted to take a minute to introduce you to our office. This is where myself and most of my team, although there's lots of us all over the country, those of us here in Colorado, this is where we spend most of our days together. And I'll have you know, it's also a 420 friendly office, which is pretty cool. And even though my team is allowed to sesh out of whatever they want, lately, we've all just been seshing out of our custom-made Cirrus vapes. We got these vapes from vapedepartment.com in an effort to share them with more people so they could know about Cirrus. But the problem is, we all love them so much that we won't give them away. If you have a business that needs any kind of custom vape battery, cartridge, whatever have you, you got to work with vapedepartment.com. I've been working with them for years. Thank you, vapedepartment.com, for sponsoring this episode of Watch and Sesh. We love you, and thanks for our Sears vapes, right, guys?
You start to learn that when you get more refined, that there's lots of layers.
In the weed.
Yeah, and so you start to be able to decipher, like, oh, the gas is first, but then you can tell there's the sweetness and that sweetness below it, and then you keep going, you're like, oh, there's that pepper underneath it, and you can start to really, especially if it's good genetics, and that's why, again, this is special, because I know these guys, the genetics they grow is no joke. They got their genetics game fucking locked out there in Humboldt. But people don't realize it, but like that's where the true geneticists have been. So then when you can dig into it, like there's lots of layers in this. And that's what makes it special, is that you don't find most of the time, weed's got one layer to it.
Okay.
And then you can sometimes pick out a second, and that's because of the genetics and the way it's grown and the way it's handled and all that shit. And by the time it's at your place, it's just those layers are gone. But you can still pick them up here.
Max, your passion for cannabis is an inspiration. I have a passion for cannabis, but it's never been the plant forward. It's always been the experience and what it does for community forward. It's really inspirational to learn all of this from you, and I so appreciate you taking the time to be
it's
here.
fun. This is an industry, there's lots of people that don't love the plant, but there's lots of people in this industry that love and cherish and believe in this plant. I'm just one of those people too. I'm just kind of a nerd.
Are you ready to play a game?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. We have a few categories. Joya will tell you now, and you can pick which one you would like to do.
These are your category choices.
Okay, good.
Other words for weed.
Ooh. This is trivia?
Basically.
Okay.
Stoner accessories. Stoner celebrities. And stoner movies.
What of those do you think
I think I'm going to go with what other things call your weed, because I'm pretty sure I've got it.
I think so. I think you've got a pretty good luck on that.
I'm going with yeah.
So here's the deal, Max.
Okay.
I play extremely competitive games of Heads Up with my friends.
Okay.
You know
I don't know what Heads Up is.
It's this game that's on your phone, and you try to get the person. I try to get you to say the word on your head.
On my head.
Yeah, and if you say it right, on the phone you say yes or no. But in real life, we just have these cards, and this is pot Heads Up.
Okay.
It does get really intense.
Okay.
I don't recommend that you ever actually come to one.
Oh, okay.
There has been blood.
Okay.
So the category you've chosen
I'm very
is
competitive. So
other words for weed. I'm glad to hear it. I was like, he's either going to hate this or this is going to be great.
Very competitive.
Wait.
Games are a big part of our household.
Great. Because you are also a father.
You have two.
That's wonderful.
That's wild.
I love that for you.
Yeah, shocking.
Do you love being a dad?
I do. It's so difficult, but absolutely.
I recently decided I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, I can't do it.
It totally, sucks up your life.
Yeah, I'm happy to financially benefit the children around me and my nieces and nephews and all of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my contribution.
I don't disagree if some people make the choices not to do it too.
I also think I
love my kids. Don't get me wrong, but it changes everything.
Would you like to do the cards? I have an expression. Would you like to give head first, or would you like?
Yeah, I'll give head first.
Okay, great. There you go, Max. You have one hand ready to grab one and one hand always up, and you are just cycling. You are going. We have 1 minute.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, you cook in a
pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a religion, and they don't worship him, but he's big and fat.
Oh,
and he teaches
Buddha?
you about
Buddha.
I got him to say the word.
Yeah.
They grow out of the ground and they're really tall.
Trees.
Yeah. See, the one hand on, one hand off. It's
a joint.
a blunt, but a different word for blunt. No, pass. This is really shitty weed. It's like a not even weed.
Dirt weed.
But the name for it.
Brickweed.
No.
Swagweed.
It's like a specific plant that grows.
Male.
Okay, pass. Reggie. They do this in the Middle East with weed.
Hash.
Yes. When it stinks
Skunk.
and it's like really in the air. It's
Yeah.
so
Oh,
loud.
loud.
Go on, keep on going.
What was
That
the
was
one?
good though. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
No, I felt like we maybe need a few more rounds. What was the one? Doobie.
Yeah.
Ow.
Also, I think of a doobie as a joint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what Reggie is. What's a Reggie?
Reggie, like what's what's that plant? There's like sativa and the genus names, and there's
I had no idea.
I didn't know what Reggie was.
weed plant
Yeah, got me there.
You can put those on.
species.
So do we do another round or is that it?
No, we do another. He
Oh, yeah,
did
good,
anything.
good.
Ruderalis. Ruderalis, are you familiar? It's like a shitty weed that grows on the side of the highway,
That's not technically true, but
and people sell it. It's probably not true. Never believe anything you see on the
never
internet.
really seen on the internet. Dr.
Oh.
Internet doesn't serve us well all the time.
Yeah. Are you like me in that your brain works way faster than your mouth?
Yes.
Especially when you're high?
Yeah.
My mouth cannot keep up.
Even
with
though
my
I
brain
will
when I'm
say
high.
though, cannabis has been the thing that keeps my ADHD in check.
Totally,
And
me
so, yeah, this is me medicated.
I love that for you. Okay, ready? Are you ready for another round?
sure.
I'm
big
gonna. Oh, I was gonna take a bong rip, but I was also just gonna do it real. Thank you.
Well,
Quickly.
you can't do it alone.
I totally tasted the gas on the exhale on that one.
See, now you like know what to look for.
I'm cultured. How many did we get the first time?
God, it's so nice and
4.
minty.
So we need to get 16 in this next round to even come close.
What is that?
16
Oh, jeez. Okay.
is what we would need to get.
All right, all right.
But let's just have fun. Okay, great. Ready, Joya?
3, 2.
You drink it out of a little cup, and it's hot, and you
Tea?
brew it. Yeah. It's what the Madness movie before.
Reefer Madness.
Yes, there you go. It's the Mexican slang term for weed.
Mota.
Yeah. It's without seeds. And this means good flower without seeds. It's what most people call it when they think about the negative side of it, and it's like a
Marijuana.
bad person's synonym to cabbage.
Oh.
Yeah. It's gosh, I only think about this as like yoga. When you combine it with yoga, it's the cannabis form of yoga.
Edibles?
No, it's the.
That was great though.
I couldn't because I think about Ganjier yoga
I
most of the
know.
time because we have classes on Ganjier yoga, so that's like what comes to mind. That was a good reference.
I
Yeah.
do have notes for how I would have delivered these two. It's up to you if you want to hear.
Yeah,
them or
yeah,
not.
definitely.
Devil's lettuce, not God's. Insert other thing. Cabbage, not God's cabbage.
God's cabbage. I see. Yeah, that's good. The God, the devil. Okay, that would have been good.
I don't really have a suggestion for this one at all, actually,
I mean,
except for like a personal one of a person who you don't know.
I mean, again, I want to say that they actually called it ganja in like the Rastafarian language, but I'm not educated enough to say that with any certainties. That's why I didn't say it.
Have
But
you been to Jamaica?
I haven't been to Jamaica.
Oh, I've been to Jamaica, and I had the honor and the privilege of going to a Rastafari indigenous village. And the entire time I was on no drugs. We were there for work. We were filming stuff. And I just had felt like I was tripping the most beautiful reality. Everything, the
wow.
body felt like it. Like I was sweating, but it felt good, you know, like you do when you're tripping. And like, it was just, but I was on no drugs at all. And it just was the most
I was going to say that's
incredible
where you
experience
probably
of my
would
life.
find some land races. You know, they preserved a lot of that culture in Jamaica and these different parts of the world, and they're pretty protective of it too. They want to keep it in Jamaica a lot of the time. So, probably would have been your best bet to find some of that, like land race strains out
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. I don't want to do a bonus round because I want
Okay.
to keep talking to you.
Yeah, and we didn't do so good.
Well, We did fine. We did fine for people who just met in person.
Okay, good, yeah.
I think we did really good. The speed factor.
Not so good.
Well, we gotta work on that, but we can work on that because we'll become friends and I'll invite
That's
you
true
over.
though. I'm definitely gonna have the family play this game. That'll be fun.
You have to get heads up on your phone. It's super fun. Shouts out heads up. Please don't sue me for doing pod heads up. That'd be great. I'm really just recommending it to people when they're stoned. So.
Or it's a good business idea. They should get into it.
Ellen DeGeneres made it. Ellen, if you sue me, I will stop being on your side about all those bad things people have said about you. Ellen, come on Watch and Sesh. Can you imagine? You can be mean to our staff. It's fine, right? We'll deal with it.
Cause when you're stoned, you never bitch and moan.
I just take edibles.
Oh, see, edibles can't be trusted with me in that way.
Why not? Let's get to the bottom of this.
I will give you the shortest version. I had a really crazy trip on mushrooms a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Fucked me up for a long time. Edibles are the only thing that get me close to that reality. A little bit is fine, but one time I took a little bit that had 50-50 CBD and it just like really enhanced it. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm not loving this right now. I'm not ready for this.
So you should know from me as this ADHD person, if you're to CBD, and I validated this, very creates an aggressiveness with ADHD people. I validated this with scientists and doctors now. They've had enough people telling them, that's all it is, people telling them, oh, CBD agitates people with ADHD. Does for me hardcore. So you might just know that if that's true for you and you have like real serious ADHD, there's a strong correlation with.
I don't need my thinking accelerated. I need it coherent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but for whatever reason, it's a molecule. It's a molecule. You know, all it is. It's a molecule, and then in our kind of brains, that molecule can interact in kind of different ways. And so for me, I'm very clear. I don't do any CBD. I don't do any CBD at all because it agitates me. I only do THC.
I think I'm gonna have to take that as well now because that does make a lot of sense for me when you're saying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Light years over here.
Max, please come back on Watch and Sesh someday.
Sure. I mean, it's easy if you guys are here. It's a little harder here in Colorado.
Are you gonna come to my club?
Yeah, I was telling my wife about it. You know, she's also a daily consumer.
Okay. Love that. Loved her energy.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Sweet.
My wife's awesome. Yeah, she's a really great one.
Just FYI for the viewers at home, they're telling us we have to wrap. And I know that this is wildly entertaining to you, and I'm sorry. But this has been a really great honor. Leave a comment below if all of you want Max to come back and sesh again.
I'll come back. Oh, man. I mean, I'm still learning. And
Max is just a 2-hour.
I'm sitting in front of thousands of hours of education, so much to learn. Well, cheers to our final bowl.
Cheers to our final bowl. Thanks for all your knowledge that you have imparted on
It's been fun.
myself, Joya, Charles, and those of you watching at home. Thanks, Max. You're familiar with Seth Rogen?
Yes.
Okay, great. I would really love to have Seth Rogen on Watch and Sesh. I want him to come into the community a little bit, you know?
I invited him to keynote a college conference about cannabis, and he didn't respond, so.
That's a much more noteworthy cause.
Yeah,
Seth.
didn't even
You
give us a
definitely
time of
should
day.
have done that. Damn.
But anyways, keep going. I agree.
I just think I want to bring him in, you know? I want to get him in with all of us in the community. No high horse.
How do we do it?
Not saying you're on a high horse, Seth, but not saying you're
No,
not.
let's bring him in. How do we do it?
You look into this camera, give him the most sincere request for him to come on Watch and Sesh that you can muster.
You should come on Watch and Sesh, dude, because you need to be more part of the community.
That is a period. There you go. And Max said it, and Max is a genius. So thanks, Max. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Let's
Thank
hope
you
it
for
happens.
being
I
here.
hope it happens.
Yeah, me too.
Get him on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching. Leave a like and a comment and do all those things. Follow Max where?
I'm personally on LinkedIn, and then follow Greenflower and Ganjier on all the everywheres.
Got it. And yeah, see, I had all these questions about LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm sorry. We didn't even get to it because it was just too good. So I'm sorry, LinkedIn.
Geeked out about weed.
I know they wanted it. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
There's just so many reasons why I like you better when you're high.